Welcome back to the Mediocre Alaska Podcast. My guest today is outdoor enthusiast and entrepreneur Mike Merrill. Thanks for sharing some of your morning.
You bet, Jeff. Happy to join you. Thank you.
So I know that you're a mountain ops guy, and so I switched out my morning coffee with some Ignite. So we'll see how things go.
I like it.
Yeah.
So you got the berry flavors of some sort, bugleberry maybe?
I didn't get that one. I hear that's a big hit, but I'm kind of new to the mountain ops game, and so I just got whatever that was there, and so I've been kind of going through that.
Sure. Oh, sounds good. Yeah, bugleberry's fantastic.
Well, they're all pretty good. It sounds like a pitch for mountain ops right now, but there's so many, like the outdoor realm. It's not just about gear and camo. Like there's some of those different things that really fit. You want your amount of calories that are in your bars, and you want good drinks that sustain you throughout the day. So there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, really. I love their protein stuff, their whey protein. They've got some vitamin supplements and one called Solitude that actually you take before you go into high elevation areas, and lots of different things. But yeah, I'm certainly a fan.
Solitude, huh? Whenever I go down to Wyoming, because my wife now is getting her PhD at University of Wyoming, and whenever I hit down there, the first time that we hike up above 10,000 feet, I'm struggling. I could be in great shape, but coming from sea level, you get up there, it's rough.
Oh yeah. Actually, this last weekend I was at the Total Archery Challenge up at Snowbird Ski Resort, and I live at about 4,500 feet, but the top of that lift takes you up over 11,000, and it was when you're hiking 7-8 miles a day and going through that steep terrain. Even if you live at almost a mile, it kicks your trash a little bit. So
yeah, you're in Utah, right? Is that where you live?
That's correct.
There seems to be a whole lot of those sort of challenges, events, gatherings, conventions down there. Like, how many of those do you go to during the summer? And then what are they like? It's just a bunch of people who kind of get together and exchange names, the big like entrepreneurial gathering, meet and greet thing. Is it, what are those things like?
Yeah. So I attend every one that I can, quite a few usually. There's the Western Hunting Expo is phenomenal. Absolutely love that event. It's usually at least, I think it starts on Thursday, goes through Sunday. They have a big draw there is the $5 raffle tags. I actually drew an elk permit here in Utah a few years back in one of those, and they've got, once in a lifetime type stuff, sheep, mountain goat, all kinds of other things. So that's really a fun event. All the great vendors and gear and lots of deals. And so I do that one. There's a Utah Archery Association banquet. There's quite a few other banquets where they'll raffle off some limited entry tags and do some things like that. So Total Archery Challenge, I've been going for, gosh, I guess it's been 6 or 7 years now, at least. And I've been to one in Colorado before. I've been to Park City. They have another one in Snowbird, is where the one that I went to last week. I think they've got 10 events around, and I was talking to the owner of the Total Archery Challenge, and he was mentioning that they had about 2,000 shooters at this event that I was just at. So that's Sean DeGray. But yeah, I go to every event I can. There's at least a good half dozen a year that you can participate in here in Utah.
I like I said, I've seen a lot of those being advertised, or people that have gone to those things. They look pretty cool, but for someone who lives in Southeast Alaska, like that's a pretty big expense to go down there for a long weekend, especially when you got a lot of good fishing going on. But I guess my opportunity to go would have been when I was down in Wyoming these last couple summers with my girlfriend, then fiance, and now wife. But yeah, just something that you don't get up here. We have the Ducks Unlimited. It seems like every year, but sometimes it you just don't hear about it sometimes, and so that's the only thing we really have here in Ketchikan. But that's island life, I guess.
Yeah. I try, and I know here, I run into people from all over the country and even some international people at these events, but it's a good idea to kind of tag team a few different things. Some people will do, like I mentioned, the Total Archery Challenge type stuff, but then also there's a lot of the local vendors in some of the hunting space like Hoyt and Easton and Traeger smokers and lots of outdoor companies like those, or Mountain Ops also are local to us here. So you can go by those places and kind of plug into what they've got going on there. And just it's a fun community to live in and be a part of. And so I love rubbing elbows and connecting with that brotherhood every opportunity that I get.
Yeah. Did you grow up hunting?
I did. My dad was kind of a weekend warrior hunter, not really much of a warrior, kind of a weekend guy. I have 13 siblings, so big family, lots of kids. So that was tough, I'm sure, to even get us out for the opener. But yeah, I grew up and it was magnetized to me. I just couldn't keep away from it, and just in my bones. And so even some of my siblings that kind of lost interest in it as they got older. I've been able to pull a few of them back in. And so we enjoy, the annual deer hunt camp out and deer camp and some of those things every year together too.
So as an entrepreneur, like, how have you seen the industry change? And if someone does have an idea, is there like a need that isn't being met yet by, I don't want to give away like some sort of really great entrepreneurial idea, but being that you've hunted since you were a kid and then you hunt now, and just seeing it from the entrepreneurial perspective, how have things changed since you grew up?
Oh, wow. It's amazing. I, like at the Total Archery Challenge I was just at, I got a set of binoculars. I have a rangefinder in them now, and it'll go over a mile, like, 2,500 meters. And the slider sights that we used, the average shot was probably over 80 yards at these targets on the two different courses that I went on. And so, these slider sights for archery, and then, for rifles, the long range stuff. I've got a gun that I can shoot about 12 or 1,300 yards pretty accurately. So it's amazing what technology has done to allow us to be more successful, or at least more lethal with the gear that we have. And so I've really enjoyed that. But like at this event I was just at, I got a product called the bow hitch, and it's just a little kind of a hook that mounts onto your bow underneath your quiver, and then a strap that hangs down from your pack. And I just put the bow right on that little hook, and so I can hike without having to necessarily carry it in my hand. But it's also accessible. So there's always really cool ideas and neat things coming out. Another product I love called Stockisons. It's a local guy here in Utah, and basically he doubles up some really high quality leather, and he's built, kind of like the old American Indian moccasins, but they're kind of custom fit to your feet, and they're basically puncture proof from cactus. That really help you sneak on animals really well. So there's just always great gear coming out all the time. So I think just technology and our ability to be creative continues to be fueled by the internet, and just the accessibility of information for people to share. And I think it just sparks a lot of new and great ideas. So old school nowadays, could mean only 10 years ago. That's out as fast as everything's moved. So
yeah, when you look at some of the premium stuff, like that stuff is really expensive now, but if you go back to 10, 15 years ago, like you said, like that stuff was top of the line. So if you buy something that's a little bit older, like you were top of the line, cutting edge, 10 years ago. So it's going to be fine. My wife is looking at some new binoculars, and she said, well, the ones that I have work. I'm like, well, yeah, they work, but you don't have to tolerate that. You can get a really nice pair of optics now. It's going to reduce your eye strain. Like there's a lot of products that are now more affordable because so many good ideas have come out, and it's kind of driven that price down. You can still spend as much as you want on any of that stuff, but there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah. And I even, in my business here, we do mobile time tracking software for construction, and it's a mobile app, and we invented it 18 years ago. It started on Palm Pilot. So even in my professional life, I've been in and around technology for a very long time. And as a former contractor that used to track everything on paper, I know that technology in every regard has come so far. So when we talk about apps, we can relate it to hunting today. And you got things like Onyx, or I've got a newer app called Scout to Hunt. And same premise as Onyx, where you're actually dropping those pins, you're adding areas where you got trail cameras or wallows and pinch points, feed areas, bedding, whatever it is. Not only does it help you have greater success in hunting, but helps you be safer. I'm just never going to get lost again because I've got these tools, right?
Yeah. Do you think a lot of that stuff, does it enhance skill, or does it allow us to get away with inadequacies where we used to just have to be good woodsmen? We have to know what's going on outside, but now we can rely on technology. Or is it kind of a mix and match depending on the person?
Yeah, it's a great point. I think there's a danger there where we can lean too heavily on it, and then if your batteries go dead and your Onyx isn't working, boy, you better have oriented yourself and had some sense of your bearings, because just like I travel for work a lot, and I've been all over the U.S., Canada, Australia, other places, and when you're in a new area, you've got to depend on these days a GPS. I mean, it's hard to even find a good paper map anymore. But when you have a GPS and you're leaning on that, even for navigation on the streets, sometimes again you pay less attention. You're watching your phone or your app instead of the road, and so I think it's just important and good woodsmanship to take notice of those things and not rely on those tools exclusively. So that you don't get in the situation where again you run out of batteries and now you're lost.
Yeah, it is difficult when you grow up. You're just at an advantage. You have so many more years of experience, and you have gotten turned around, which is a nice euphemism for being lost. But you got that out of your way when you were a kid, and so by the time you're an adult, you kind of know how to remain calm. You kind of know that stuff. For people who are kind of late to the game or late onset hunters, they don't have that bank of experience, which can be difficult. Is there something that you have like a skill that you have really honed, or something that you continue to work on, that even though you have a lot of experience, it's still kind of something that you really focus on?
Well, one of the things I have a premium deer hunt coming up, an archery hunt here in Utah. It took me about 11 years to draw this tag. And they've got 200-inch mule deer bucks in that area just about every year that come out of there, and lots of 180s, and I mean really really nice 4-points, and some trashy bucks with all kinds of stickers, and cactus bucks, cheaters everywhere, just a lot of really cool deer. And one of the things is it's kind of a high mountain desert unit, and so a lot of open country. You have to be really stealthy to be able to stalk in on those deer. So I mean that learning to play the wind and learning how to stalk more quietly, learning when to push and when to pull back, so you don't blow deer out of an area. Maybe you come back in the morning and try again, or just having those tactics and strategies really sharp is something that I'm always in pursuit of. It seems like you make more mistakes and have more blown stalks than successes, by a long way. So I think those are areas that are just a constant learning experience. When it comes to elk hunting, I like to bugle elk in and chirp them in with cow calls and calf calls, and so learning that technique and those skills is always a fun thing that every year I get better and better and seem to have more wisdom. So I love that about hunting, and especially archery, kind of like golf. It's you're never going to master the game. There's always something new that's going to get in the way, and you're going to have to learn the hard way from. And the key is to fail forward and learn from those things so that you're constantly improving.
Yeah, that's that idea of being a practitioner of it, which means you're always practicing, which mentally you never become that expert. Right, you're always practicing, and that's fine. You're always going to get better. There's always something you can improve, and that's the right mindset to have going forward.
Yeah, I think the other big thing, at least for me personally, and a lot of people that I know, being physically fit and keeping in shape. You mentioned the elevation stuff. I mean that can kick anyone's butt. It doesn't matter what kind of shape you're in. You can be in a world of hurt in a hurry if you get altitude sickness or if you're not properly hydrated. So there's some things that are important skills to have on, making sure that you're being smart with the way that you transition from, again, maybe lower elevation to higher. And then more than that, the gear, being prepared for weather, inclement weather, learning to embrace the suck, so to speak, when it's raining. A lot of times there are good hunting opportunities if you know how to hunt differently than, if we go and hole up in the trailer in a tent, just like maybe the animals are, then we're going to reduce our opportunity for success. So I think just learning how to take advantage of those situations is also something that we can continue to sharpen as we get into our later years of hunting and have more experience under our belt.
Yeah.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
You mentioned embrace the suck. There are so many slogans and so many, hashtags that are available to us. Do you think that people are really honest, or are they just saying hashtag keep hammering when really they didn't? Do you think it's an impossible thing to answer? But I remember last year it was super hot on the deer opener and I could not stop thinking about a burger. And like I was like, keep hammering. I was thinking that, but also like, man, cheeseburger. And so I was out there. It was super hot. Like I missed that nice morning where the deer kind of come out. By the time it's 7 o'clock, they're already going back in the trees. And so it was like, do I wait all day, camp another night? We're talking, 20 more hours, or do I just go get a burger and come back out the next day? So do you think I don't know. Are we full of crap when we say embrace the suck and all that stuff, or does it depend on who the person is, or what do you think about that?
I mean, if I'm honest, which I try to be, I think the natural man in all of us is going to make us seek comfort. It's only natural to try and resist things that are difficult. And so learning to overcome that and actually enjoy it, or even if you don't enjoy it in the moment, enjoy the benefits and the opportunity that it is to improve something for later, I think is the secret to embracing that suck, so to speak. Now, I don't think there's anybody that's perfect at that. I know, keep hammering, Cameron Haynes's slogan, and something I subscribe to and have for, 6 or 7 years now, that I've really tried to work towards that kind of an attitude. I'm sure there's days that, Cam or anybody else doesn't want to run or doesn't want to get up and get their workout in or do whatever it is that they want to do. But I know that, I can say with complete integrity that never one time when I did get up early against my wishes or my comfort did I regret it. I mean, I never regret getting that run or that workout in. I never regret waking up early to get on that hunt. And I want to hit the snooze button. When I do hit the snooze button, which pretty rare for me these days, but sometimes you just you're not feeling it. It's usually filled with regret. I'm usually thinking, dang, shouldn't have done that. I should have just got up. And, was that the day? And I run trail cameras and things like that. And I know with surety that sometimes the day I didn't get out when I had originally planned on it, that's when the buck or the bull came in or whatever. So I just think you have to, it's just like baseball, you got to have so many at bats in order to get those runs in and get an opportunity for hits. So getting those reps in continuously and making sure that you have plenty of opportunity for success I think that's the first thing that you got to focus on. So if we're not embracing that suck, if we're not getting up early, if we're hitting that snooze button, then we're just reducing our chance for opportunities. So it's constant pursuit, but a worthy one, and something that, I think we can all be full of crap sometimes. I mean, I've caught myself in that way. I'm wearing a keep hammering hat and I'm not, and I'm feeling like I'm walking up this mountain. I'm not hammering it, right? It's hammering me.
Yeah.
But then I also, at least for me, and again, this is, I don't feel like it's an excuse, but I have given myself a little bit of latitude on some of those things where I'm thinking, you know what, I'm out here, I'm putting work in. So that's a win. I don't have to get a PR, personal record every time that I'm out running. I mean, you're winning by just getting out there. And so I think there's a balance, and that depends on the individual. Some people, they're freaking grinders, and they're just, I don't know, they got something in them that is unique, and they seem to be able to conquer that more readily. So I think it just depends on the individual.
My buddy calls the snooze button the coward button. And,
I love that.
Perfect. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I think it goes along the same thing with the practitioner. Like, you're a practitioner of embracing the suck, which means that it's going to be miserable. You're not going to be like, Cam Hanes kind of sticks out as one of the main guys of, I don't know if that guy, he may have trained out all of his like self-doubt and all of his laziness, which is great, but you get to that point by doing that over and over and over again. So if you just use that hashtag, it doesn't mean that you're just poaching that idea. It means that it's that common thing that we all kind of want to do to get better, and we're practitioners at getting better and being more efficient at doing the things that we say we love to do.
Yeah, we're aspiring to be better. It's really it's not that you're not stealing someone's idea. You're buying into it and subscribing to it, and you want to embody that. And so I think it's fantastic. I mean, I know a lot of other people that are like-minded to you and I, love hunting, love fishing, love the outdoors, love to get out and grind. And I think there's a certain point where you're not just using words in the hashtag, but you're actually you're describing how you feel. You're describing your attitude. And I mean, even at a point, there's things that just speak to my soul when I'm out there doing this stuff. It's like, I feel like I am, at one with where I need to be and with what I feel like I'm here to do. Mm-hmm. It's not just that it's hunting or it's overcoming. It's putting work in and earning the opportunity to have this experience. And I always think, I was on a podcast with Cody Rich on the Rich Outdoors. It came out a couple months ago, maybe. And Cody talked about how he's learned to appreciate opening and closing gates. I thought, wow, I've never even thought of that, that's very interesting. And he was saying, there's just something about that when you're going through a gate up in the mountains. It means you're up somewhere doing something that's special, that's different. And there's a lot of people out there in the world that are never going to have to open one of those gates or have the opportunity to do so. And so, we were talking about how sometimes it's really hard to even describe to somebody who doesn't get it, what it's like to be out there, hunting bugling bulls or or chasing a rutting buck with your bow, and that crisp mountain air, and watching the sunrise, and just all of those things that you get when you're out in God's country, so to speak, that you just can't. You have to earn those things. They're not free. You can't even really, you can pay somebody to take you to do those things, but you can't buy that experience. It's something that you have to, put yourself in that situation to feel it and let it, permeate your soul, so to speak. So I think that's what it's all about for me. It's like the keep hammering idea, or any of these, embrace the suck, or whatever terminology you want to use. I've been saying one lately, hard is good. I love that. I just think it's good. Hard is good. I love it when it's hard. It means I'm working for something that's worthwhile. If it's difficult, then there's probably not a lot of other people that are going to be there doing it. So it's unique.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I wanted to track you down is that on your Instagram, whenever you seem to be doing something that is difficult, you seem to have this just jovial look on your face, like you're expressing gratitude. It's almost like you just got into hunting 2 years ago and are still feeling that euphoria of, oh my gosh, I've discovered this, and this is just making my life so much better. But you've been hunting for a long time. So how do you, is it real gratitude? Is just that you just kind of default to a happy demeanor, or what is it about doing these difficult things, just having such a positive, grateful attitude?
Honestly, it is, if I could pick one word, I would just say fulfillment. It just fills my cup. And, I ran, I'm doing this, actually, we were talking about mountain ops and Cam Haines, kind of funny. So this week, there's a 25K per day, so about 16 and a half miles challenge that Cam Haines and Mountain Ops put on. So I ran a little over 10 miles this morning, got up around 5 a.m. and, put some miles in, and then I'll finish the last 6.5, later this evening. And then tomorrow morning, get up and do it again. And it's funny because sometimes after I get done with a run, my cheeks hurt. And I'm trying to figure out why do my cheeks hurt? And I'll catch myself just smiling, like a big old cheesy grin while I'm running. And now it's like, that's just kind of how I run, but it's not because it's more comfortable or it's just, I'm just loving it. I'm just happy doing it. And it's not just the running. I grew up hating running. I used to run track, like in junior high school, but it was like the sprints, and, I hated the mile. I hated, never did cross country. But I learned, and Cam Haines is a big part of that. There's a few other folks that inspired me to start running, but my purpose for running was obviously health and fitness, but also to be better in the mountains. And that was, was a moment in the mountains, actually on a deer hunt after I'd killed a decent buck, hiked up to get to where he was at. And I felt like I was going to pass out. I felt like I was going to throw up. I had to just sit on a log next to this buck for 10 minutes to catch my breath and even be able to, function. And I thought, this sucks. I'm having this great experience and I feel like garbage. And so that was the moment. It was back in 2015 that I decided, okay, I gotta fix this. I gotta change something here. So that's when I really started being more on purpose with fitness and trying to keep myself ready for the mountains year round. And what that has done, you talk about, is this just a hashtag or whatever else? But what it's done is it's given me a new perspective where I realize that the harder I can make it for myself, the more I can overcome, the more resilience I can build up, the more physical strength, but then most importantly, the more mental strength that I can build up doing hard things when the hunts aren't going. When it comes time for hunting season, then nothing's hard. None of it is difficult. It's easier than my regular day. So now I can really enjoy it. I don't have to worry about, being exhausted or not being able to, pack this elk out. I love helping other people pack their bulls out. I love that almost as much as hunting my own bull. It's just fulfilling to help participate in that process. So, going back to what I said, I mean, it's just fulfillment is really what that facial expression or that emotion the jovial nature is. I just feel joyful and fulfilled.
Mm-hmm. It seems that there's a culture of that, build confidence through doing difficult things and building resilience for life. Like that's a huge group. But then also it seems like outside of that group that we're becoming less and less able to overcome things. We're becoming less resilient as a country. It seems it's hard to tell, like, what's true and what's not, and what percentage of the population each little group makes up. But that building confidence through doing difficult things is such an important thing. And it's such a great, as a teacher, I tell kids, you want to build confidence, you want to feel better about yourself, do difficult things, overcome those things, fail, but then know why you failed, and then, get over that stuff. And it's such an important thing when people talk about the importance of hunting and how great it is. It is that self-confidence, that being able to overcome things. And you can hike all around a mountain. I didn't get something, but man, I can hike all around a mountain. I'm resilient enough. I'm strong enough. I'm in shape enough to just, whatever it would take, I can do that. And that's so great to be able to have that.
Yeah. Whatever skills you can build to give yourself an advantage, because these animals, they have one job, survive every single day. I mean, that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can overcome that, especially with archery equipment, and I rifle hunt, on occasion too. I grew up doing it. I have a fair number of rifles, and I have lots of pistols, and I love shooting. I do like long range as a pursuit. It's kind of fun. Again, it's unique. But if I'm being honest, the purest form of hunting for me is, with the bow and arrow. And I just feel like I'm more intimate with that experience, and I have to be on top of my game. So, you talk about, being able to hike around that mountain or get wherever you need to go. I mean, that's one aspect, and that's something that you can improve to the point where that is no longer a problem. Now, if I see something, I can get to it. Mm-hmm. And it's more a matter of, okay, what's the wind doing? How much shooting light do I have? What time of day is it? What's the next step in this animal's typical behavior? Are they getting ready to go to a transition to bedding or feeding? Are they going to water? Just knowing those things, that's another layer. And then, of course, at the end of the day, I mean, this is you're trying to deliver that broadhead or that bullet or that fish hook. If you're fishing, right, you're trying to deliver that to the perfect place in order to be successful in that pursuit. And so any one thing in the way of that end result is going to stop you from having success. So whatever variables you can eliminate, if I can be physically fit and I can be mentally tough, where I'm not going to quit, I'm not going to give up. It's raining and I'm happy. It's okay. This is great. Expect it to rain. And then when it doesn't, great, no problem. But just having that mindset, and then really what it comes down to at that point is not just practice, but I always say perfect practice makes perfect. Right. We've got to practice properly. 1,000 shots with your bow with bad form, you're going to have to do at least that many correctly in order to weed that out of your muscle memory and your brain. And so, that's the other piece of that is making sure that you're prepared and proficient with the equipment that you're hunting with.
Did you feel prepared when you came to Alaska to hunt for salmon and halibut, or was that totally outside of your realm?
That was a new experience for me, but I've been a lifelong fisherman. I love fishing. I've done some fly fishing, and I love stream and river fishing. So it's interesting. I had been to 49 of the 50 states, but just coming to Alaska was my 50th state. So
perfect.
That was a double bucket list by fishing for halibut, and then also getting up to Alaska finally. So that was awesome. I did feel prepared. It did take me a couple days to get pretty good at it, but by that second or third day, I felt like, I wasn't going to lose any fish.
Yeah.
So,
I've been to Gustavus once. It was when I was a senior in high school. It was a basketball trip. And because all Southeast Alaska is a bunch of islands, we would go and we would travel to multiple towns on the same trip. So we played 2 games in Yakutat, then flew back to Juneau, then got on a boat to Skagway, played 2 games there. And then we went to Gustavus. So it was 6 games in about 10 days, and we got stuck in Gustavus. And I can tell you that Gustavus during the winter is probably a lot different than the Gustavus that you experienced a couple weeks ago. There was 8 to 10 feet of snow when we were flying in. The weather was bad, and so the pilots were just kind of circling. They don't have a sophisticated, weather system or anything. So as we were about to land in these little wheel planes, the pilot said, "Oh, the depth perception sucks." You're thinking, dude, what are you saying? You got kids in the back here. You can't be saying that. But yeah, it was just because you have the 8 feet of snow, and then you have the snow on the runway. It was just crazy. But those are my memories of Gustavus. And there's no bleachers in the gym, so the people who show up to the game would just sit on the side, and there was about 3 feet between the out of bounds line and the gym wall. It was crazy. We got stuck there for like 3 extra days. I think it was nuts. But
wow.
So what was your Gustavus experience like? How did you get to Gustavus as far as your fishing destination, and how was that?
So it's interesting. The guide or the outfit that we booked with is called Majestic Expeditions, and Josh Graves owns that. Super awesome guy. Ironically, Josh, and to your point of the 10 feet of snow, etc., and that's not even talking about the limited hours of daylight, but just the miserable conditions there. Basically, Josh Graves moves from Gustavus to the down here in the lower 48. Basically, he was living in Payson, Utah, which is the same city that my office is in during the off season for fishing. So he'd come and winter down here. Well, he happened to rent a home from my father-in-law, who helped me book that trip, and a couple of other friends of his. So basically, Josh rents from my father-in-law, Stan Goodrich, here in Payson, Utah. So that's how we found him. Now, my father-in-law's been up to Homer. He used to have an uncle that lived up there, and he would go fishing every year. And I think he's been, 3 or 4 other places. But Josh basically said, "Hey, I've got this outfit out of Gustavus," and my father-in-law had been to Juneau before. In fact, we ended up fishing in some of the same locations there near Glacier Bay that he had fished with this other outfit at in previous years. So that's how we met Josh and got up there, and it was fantastic. Ironically, we had all this rain gear, and I was told to expect it to rain probably 4 out of the 5 days, and pretty good some of the days. And we essentially got almost no rain the entire week we were there. Nice. I mean, it was fantastic. So,
you didn't get the real experience. You got cheated out of the weather, man. That's too bad.
Yeah, it didn't suck. There was no suck to embrace.
What was something that, because I've always had friends come up since like college, I'd have some buddies come up. And then when I was living in California, I had some teaching buddies that would come up to Alaska. Hey, come up, for a week or so, let's do some fishing. They always had very unique insights that, as someone who grew up here, I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Sometimes they'll ask about the lake. I'm like, dude, that's the ocean. That's not the lake. You can't say that too loud, right? Was there anything that was something totally different than you expected, or something that you didn't even know really existed when you came up here?
I mean, I would, one of the interesting things, of course, was, and we were fishing depending on the current. So I never really understood the current. It didn't make sense to me what my bait must be doing down on the bottom. But we had to use 2 or 3 pound lead weights just to keep our bait from getting pulled away with the current. And here we are anchored, and yet I've got this resistance on my line. And there was one point we almost went to 4-pound weights because it was so strong. We just couldn't keep the dang bait on the bottom. And so that was intriguing. And then we also had to, I mean, I thought it was really cool. We had an awesome guide, really loved him. Super skilled fisherman, and really helped us kind of figure things out quickly. But he kept talking about, every 3 or 5 seconds, bouncing that leaded weight on the bottom, like ringing a dinner bell, that vibration. And he said these halibut, or we caught a bunch of Pacific cod as well, and some rockfish and some other things too. But we were fishing for halibut, of course. And he said, when we're in up to almost 200 feet of water, it's like it's so dark down there, they can't see anything. They can smell and they can hear or feel that vibration, and that's all they got. So if you can help attract attention by bouncing out on the bottom, it's like ringing the dinner bell. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. That the current thing is so weird. You think you can have like the tidal issues and current issues and so much stuff. And so when you are running the boat yourself, the first couple of times that I went out, and I just bought a larger 21-foot boat, like just figuring it out and being the captain, there's so many other things to worry about. And then when you are anchored, pulling the anchor, did he have an automatic anchor thing, or did he pull it with a buoy?
Yeah, so he had a buoy, and it was interesting. Yeah, it's a very interesting process. And like you said, the tidal thing, I was going to say that too, is like the tide's going one way, the current's going the other. You're stuck in the middle. Sometimes you'd have another boat's wake coming through, and then the wind is blowing a different direction. I mean, it was unbelievable, the number of things that went into just getting us in a good position to catch fish. And then for him to not only do that, but there were 5 people on our boat. And it's like he had his finger on the pulse of every single pole, every line. I mean, he had it. I think he was like probably 99 out of 100 correct calls on, no, you lost him. Nope, that fish is off. Nope, that's not a fish. Oh, you lost your bait. I mean, how do you, one of these guys that was with us I think he's 81 years old. His first opportunity to get up and fish for halibut. So bucket list item for him. And he kept calling it the lake. It was kind of funny. The guide was laughing at him, and we had a great time making fun of it. And we all started calling it the lake.
Nice.
But anyway, it was just lots of things that were very intriguing to me and impressive. The skill that that these guides have in not only navigating the boat and keeping us in a good place, but keeping a finger on the pulse of every pull in the water.
Yeah. Anybody get sick?
Nope.
That's good.
we did have, I bought some of the patch things, and I gave a few to some of the other guys. And so there was one day that there was, more wind, and it was supposed to be rougher water. And so we had those patches that we put on the night before, and maybe that helped. Maybe we didn't even need them, but fortunately nobody did.
Yeah. It can be easy to dial in on either the fishing and then you don't get sick, or dial in on, oh my gosh, I'm out of the water, I'm going to get sick. And so because you're focused on that, you end up getting sick. But I've had some buddies that have come up and they're just, it's just glass water. It's beautiful water, but they're just so in their head about getting sick that they end up getting sick. I'm like, dude, how can you, this is crazy. The fishing is wide open right now and you're getting sick. But
there was one. So, with Majestic Expeditions, really cool setup. I don't know if you've been through any of these outfits. I mean, you're a local there, so maybe not, but they had, so we would have a really nice big breakfast together every morning, and then a huge dinner. And his wife is literally a gourmet chef. I mean, she literally travels the world and learns from top chefs. I mean, she'll take classes for a month in Europe during the off season, and then make these just incredible dishes. I mean, like 5-star restaurant type stuff, 5, 6, 7 course meals. I mean, unbelievable. So anyway, we would have an opportunity at that time to catch up with the other boats. There were 3 different groups in this cabin property at the same time as us. And so we would come together and kind of share our fish stories. And there was one lady in one of the groups that she did get sick one day. They went out on the open water on the ocean to try and catch some king salmon, and she had a rough go. So she didn't end up going out the next day. But other than that, everybody else was fine. So.
Yeah, that summer fishing program it's so involved and it takes so much time. And it's nice to see people who appreciate the hard work that goes into it. Your fish doesn't vacuum pack itself. Like a lot of times down here, and you have like kids, a junior, senior in high school that's cutting and vacuum packing the fish till late. Like you bring in a whole bunch of fish and they can't start until you're there, and there's so much time goes into that. And there's a lot of locals here who own lodges. A couple of my buddies are charter fishermen during the summer who are teachers during the year. And as soon as school starts, they say, great, I finally get to sleep in, because during the summer season, you're waking up at 4:00, 3:30, something like that. So it's fun to see, and you get to provide that experience for people, and they get to come up, and it's just a trip of a lifetime. And that's got to be great.
Yeah, and exactly what you just said. I mean, we were waking up we would have breakfast at 6:30 every morning, and then leave around 7 to go to the docks. But Josh kept telling us, he said, well, we get going at 4 a.m. here. And then once we're getting dinner and getting showered up and ready for bed, and it's 8 or 9 in the evening. And like you mentioned, they're back there, filleting fish and vacuum packing and flash freezing and just taking care of everything, so that, when our flight leaves, it left on, Saturday afternoon, we had about 400 pounds of fish that was all frozen and packed up in 50-pound boxes and checked as luggage. And, it was an amazing operation, and just really cool that they've got that fine tuned to the point where you can get in and get out and have that kind of experience without having to necessarily see or feel or deal with what the real headaches are of that whole process. So,
yeah. Now, if you think about that and you apply that to hunting, like it's the same sort of logistical things, but now it's more, all right, rather than how do I get to Gustavus, how am I going to get to this area that I drew this tag for, and how much is that going to cost? And this outfitter doing this and that, it's crazy. So now that you've been to Alaska, is it checked off the list, or is this going to be one of many, many checks that you're going to have to make over the next years?
This is, I think that just opened a brand new door so, that I plan to use again. And you know how it is. I mean, you post a little bit on social, you got your circle of influence, your family, your friends. I got 20 people that can't wait to book a trip and go up, all these people, hey, let's go next year. And
yeah.
Oh man, what did I get myself into? But it definitely is. There's only so much time for hobbies, and you got all kinds of other things going on too. But it's definitely something that I want to make a regular thing if I have the opportunity. So.
Nice. So we're getting close to an hour here, so I want to let you go. But do you have any closing remarks about? We kind of started off with the entrepreneurship and the outdoor realm. Would there be any advice that you give anybody who's looking to get into the outdoor space, either with like a product or content or anything like that? Any advice for any aspiring outdoor entrepreneur?
Sure. I think, if I were to say anything, the first thing I would say is be authentic, in whatever it is you're doing. If it's really who and what you are and something you're passionate about, you'll find a way to create success and to build a bridge or a path for you to get to where you want to go. I think just the term the outdoor space or the industry or things that people use to describe that, I think there's the business side of that that's different than, hey, this is my passion, I love it, I wish I could do it every day. So there's kind of a balance there where, a great idea for you to come up with a product that you would enjoy on your own hunt is one thing, and that's a great thing. That's where all of these great innovations started. But to see that through and actually commercialize it and resell it and market it and then run a business that has to be profitable and make money, that's just a whole nother level. And so completely possible. That's how all the products that are out there came to be. But I think just the biggest thing is first make sure that it's something that you really believe in completely. And then, you'll find and create the opportunity by investing that extra time. Whether it's after your wife and kids go to bed or your husband and kids, or, for those ladies out there, I think you'll find a way to create that extra time to make that happen if it's something that you really believe in. So I'd say just commit to yourself if you really want to take that plunge, and then put a plan together of what you think it's going to take to make it happen, and then just put the work in. And if you do that, people will glom onto that and recognize, God, this guy's, I love his passion. I love what he's doing. I believe in what he's sharing here. And then if it's a great product, or if it's a great, whether maybe it's just filming your hunts or other things, if it's good content or a good product, people will consume and enjoy that. But you've got to start with that really, true, authentic ingredients, and then I think it'll be appealing.
Yeah, one of the things I like most about a guy like Corey Jacobson is, I've never met the guy, but just what he puts out there as far as content. Like, he seems like the type of person who is the same in front of the camera as away from it. It just seems like such a legit, authentic dude, and like that's the type of stuff that you want to watch.
Yeah, I do know Corey decently, well enough to say he is the exact same guy, whether the camera's rolling or not. Just as good a guy as there is out there, and would give the shirt off his back to anybody. And he loves what he's doing. He believes in it, and he's happy to help other people get to that same. I mean, he doesn't keep any secrets on any of the wisdom that he's gained from his own hard work. I mean, he's happy to share it, and tries really hard to give other people the opportunity to enjoy it the same way he does.
Yeah, I just talked with him on a podcast last week, and he talked about how he was like an introvert, but then he wanted to help other people. So it was that, oh man, this makes me uncomfortable, but I also want to help people. And so in order to help people, I have to get over that. So that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, and Donnie's the same exact way. Team Elk 101. I mean, those guys they're amazing.
Yeah. And then final thoughts about Gus Davis, I guess. If someone is on the fence about going up to Alaska, you made it happen. If someone is thinking about, gosh, I need to make this happen, or I should make it happen, what advice would you have to someone who's ready to make their trip?
First off, my gosh, I would tell you to do it. Don't wait any longer than you need to. I mean, I probably could have gone 10, 15, 20 years ago, and now I wish I would have. But at this point, nothing I could do about the past. I just could continue forward. So feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to point you in a direction, or at least answer questions, or help anybody who's looking to go or interested in it. I understand the process very well, not only just booking that, but also what to pack, what to worry about, what you don't need to worry about. I took a bunch of extra things I didn't need. There's a couple of things I wish I would have taken or done differently. So you learn a little bit going through that experience. But I would say generally, like this Majestic Expeditions with Josh Graves, a fantastic outfit. Highly recommend those guys. And you'll eat better than you ever have in your life, besides the great fishing. So that makes it kind of fun too. So I would just say, make sure to don't cut yourself short, and just create the opportunity and commit to it. And I promise you won't regret it.
What did you bring that you didn't need?
Well, I brought more clothing for sure than I needed. That was the first thing. I mean, I just didn't need all of that. Right?
I had a buddy that brought up an umbrella one year. I was like, dude, really? Come on, man. Umbrella? You're going to waste space on that? Come on.
I also brought running and workout gear, and that didn't happen as much. I rode a bike around the island for one of the nights to try and get a little bit of exercise, but I didn't end up needing too much of that.
Well, reeling in a halibut from 200 feet can be difficult. There's different muscles that you're using. You either put the rod underneath your armpit. Do you put it in the kind of like your haunch? Like, it's kind of funny to see how people find a comfortable way to be able to reel it in.
Yeah, I had very sore forearms when it was all said that last day. I mean, I don't know how many I caught. I don't know, over 50 halibut for sure overall. I mean, turned most of them back, of course. Just kept my limit, but and caught tons of codfish and other. I mean, yeah, you get a workout for sure.
Yeah. So. Well, where can people find you? Any other things that you want to pitch as far as your entrepreneurial things go?
You can just find me mainly on Instagram. I'm on, Twitter and Facebook and the other things too, but it's just Michael T. Merrill is my handle, just my full name. And no, I'd just say generally get out there and get after it. Find a way to do hard things. Don't be afraid to try something new. And when it comes to, whether it's running or working out or doing other things, find a way to make it fun, or at least make it intriguing, gamify it a little bit, whatever you have to do to try and spice it up. I mean, I put about 140-pound pack on when I mow my lawn now. And so it's, but I've learned to love that. Now I love mowing my lawn because I get a workout in and I have to mow it anyway. So I may as well put some weight on and get one of my workouts in for the week. And man, I'll tell you what, it's easy to pack out an elk quarter after doing that for all summer long.
All right. It's good. Well, thanks again for being on here, man. Take care. Glad you got to Gustavus. And I want to hear how the halibut enchiladas end up. Or have you had them yet?
I have had them and they were absolutely fantastic. Thank you for the recipe, Jeff.
It's hard to mess up halibut enchiladas, but that's good. Glad you.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Take care. See you.